Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Drivers Room Endurance Championship. This is Season 4, Round 1, Tier 3. And I am your host, Kimaru, for this race. And starting off in our grid position today in Tier 3, on pole we have Mr. Jeep. Pole position 2, Mr. Hit the Mat. In P3, we have Mr. Tom Nixon. In 4, we have our resident Asgardian, Thor, also known as Murkoff. In P5, we have Gilroy. P6, we have Mr. Jammy D. P7, we have Captain O'Reilly. In P8, we have Glover Barnett. In 9th, we have Mr. Revs, that guy Revs. And in 10th, we have my junior teammate, Mr. Craig in Mjolnir Racing Jr. Let's get on with the race. Alright, we are about to get ready for takeoff on Round 1, Tier 3, Season 4. Let's hope everyone gets through the field cleanly. I'm just gonna do a quick check. There we go. We are off. Round 1 in Season 4. It's a good start for Jeep. Of course, that little pocket rocket should be able to go through the corners extremely fast. We have Mr. Tom Nixon in the back. Gilroy has a good start up into 3rd. Mac has a bad start, and he is down into 4th. Oh, and we have Craig off on the grass. And looks like everyone got through cleanly. What's happened to Jammy? He's ghosted for some reason. Let's continue to follow Jeep and Mr. Tom Nixon. See if everyone gets through cleanly in the mighty, scary chicane. Very difficult corner to get through. We have Revs in the mighty Viper. And Jammy there. Jeep continues to lead the field through in lap 1. Of course, the trophy lacks. Oh, and look at Jeep! He has a little incident there in the chicane. Looks like he still manages to stay ahead of Tom Nixon, though. The trophy, as I tried to say, is not a fast car on the straight, but it does have handling superiority. Looks like Tom is trying to challenge Mr. Jeep, but now we're coming to the handling section again. Could be difficult for Tom to get a move done in the twisties. Jeep using all of the track. And Gilroy in the Skyline, a car I only used for my first season in DREC, and discovered that tire wear on the front was a little too extreme, and it killed my progress. And Mac goes for a dive on the inside, then he goes up into 3rd. Wow, that's a good move from Mac. Clean and fast. Wow, that was a very good move from Mac. Mac showing his powers as a Tier 1 driver. Of course, he has been bumped down to Tier 3 because he changed 2 cars. Personally, I think he should have gotten a quali ban for a couple of races in Season 4, and just been moved down to Tier 2. I don't know what the reasoning was behind that. maybe voluntarily went down to tier 3. We have Revs up into 7th, ahead of Thor in the Jag. The Jag and Viper are two muscle cars. Looks like Merc is going to try and go on the outside of Revs, or he looks for a move on the inside into turn 1. Makes it stick. Oh, but will Revs... Wow, that yeah, a little sketchy to pass during Ghosted, but Merc up to 7th. Craig had, well, a bad start, but he's up into 9th. Jammy has gotten his speed back up. We have Mr. Tom Nixon up into 1st. Let's see what happened to Tom and Jeep. Jeep had a very bad exit out of the chicane yet again. We are back with the leader, and he's being followed closely by Mac. Mac in the Aston. McLaren is a car where you short shift at the halfway point. So you should be saving a lot of fuel, Mr. Tom. Mac going for a deep line, but Tom shuts the door. Jeep there in 3rd, and Gilroy in 4th. O'Reilly 5th. Merc has gotten himself up into 6th. He is ahead of Glove Barnett. Craig is up into 8th. What's happened to Revs? Is that Viper a little too heavy and understeering for this track, maybe? Oh, and he goes, wow, deep there. We have Jammy coming up. He's catching up to the field. Looks like he's got a grip on the Lexus now. Beautiful looking livery for Jammy's car this season. Of course, created by the livery god Monguinho. And my teammate Craig catching up to Gilroy. He's also under attack from Revs. These cars kind of looks a little bit like RC cars, to be honest. Oh, and Jammy goes off the grass. He manages to keep the car on the tarmac though. He loses maybe a little bit there. Maybe a couple of tenths. And Mac has gotten himself up into P1. What has happened to Tom? Tom might have had an issue somewhere. The top 3 are now edging away from the rest of the field. The right side tires are starting to go as well. This car is especially hard on tires because of the heavy braking in a multitude of corners. And look at Jeep going for an attack on Mac. That kind of rhymed. Jeep is pushing everything he can on that little trophy. Coming out to a low power section now. Mac should be safe for the moment, but in the corners, Jeep will be extremely dangerous. And they've gotten a good distance down to Tom. Tom is under attack from Captain O'Reilly. O'Reilly is lagging quite a bit too. That's not good. Let's hope there's no contact between them. We'll follow the fight between Jib and Mac. Jeep going on the outside into the hairpin. Still too far behind Mac. Mac is a tier 1 caliber racer, so he's a very difficult guy to get past. I know that from season 1 in the GR2s at round 8. We had a Sardinia short circuit, and I spent about 10-15 laps behind him in GR2 car, just trying to force Mac into a mistake. It was a very difficult race, but a very fun one. So I know how hard it is to get past Mac. Very good, fair, and clean racer. So Jeep definitely has his work cut out for him. Let's go down the field, and Captain O'Reilly is making a move on Tom. Up into the S's of all things. And wow, O'Reilly is really in lagnation today. He gets a better exit out of the S's. Will he manage to get the move done before? No. Well, maybe he does, maybe he does. Tom will have more power down the little straight, down to the chicane, but Captain O'Reilly is up into 3rd. Oh my god, lagnation. Lag switch engaged, huh, O'Reilly? That is O'Reilly up into 3rd. And yeah, look at Tom's tires compared to O'Reilly. The trophy is extremely greedy on the tire wear, if that's the right word. Not easy to say the right things when you are a Norwegian and English is not your first language. And we have Mr. Jammy D up into 5th place, ahead of Mr. Murkoff, or Thor, as we all call him. He's got himself a real-life Mjolnir hammer, so maybe he should be running Mjolnir Racing, but at least he looks like Thor, and he has the hammer of Thor. And Mr. Tom Nixon has been into the pits, gotten some new boots. Now he will take the hunt down to O'Reilly. Jammy is being chased closely by Murkoff, and the tire wear of these two are exactly the same. Which is weird because Jammy is on super soft and Murk is on soft. Did we have an incident back here? No. Gilroy is down into... Whoa! Look at the tires in front. Gilroy is down into 9th. That Skyline is really struggling at the moment. Like I said, the Skyline is not very good on its tires. And I think Mr. Revs has been into the pits. The Viper is also a heavy beast that chews its tires and fuel. We still have a battle between Mac and Jeep. Jeep has really not given up, and he's flashing his lights. He really wants to get past. But like I said earlier, Mac is not an easy character. Oh, and we have an incident from Mac. Maybe he barely touched the wheel on the grass there and got a little tail happy car. And Mac and Jeep goes in. Will Captain O'Reilly stay out for a few more laps, or will he dive in? He stays out for one more lap. Will he come out before these two? No, and they chase each other out of the pits. Captain O'Reilly there, coming up into 2nd, but the top two will have superiorly better tires. I don't think O'Reilly would be able to follow these two. And Craig and Barnett has gone into the pits. Barnett, what did I just see? Barnett has gone out on hard tires. That is not a good choice. He's gonna lose so much time. Hard tires is really not the way to go in driver's room. I know this for a fact. I started on hard tires in the GR2 race at the biggest variation of Kyoto, and I got absolutely creamed. I almost wanted to drop an F-bomb there, but Craig down into 9th. He's still ahead of Revs. Revs is a long way back. I think Revs has spun. Looks like the Viper needs a new paint job. Mac and Jeep are not giving up. No holds barred. Let's take a look down to Tom. Tom looks like he is out of danger. Looked like we had a little incident there. Sorry for the shoddy camera work. Jamie is still in 5th, ahead of Merck, and their tires are starting to go off at lap 8. They might have to go into the pits very shortly. There we have Jamie and Merck both diving in. Look at how close my teammate is to Glove or Barnett. I'm just going to call him Barnett from now on. Craig goes for a move on Barnett. Will it stick into turn 1? He makes it stick. Very well done from the junior teammate. Of course, I am taking a break this season, as I've said in the Tier 1 video, to recharge my batteries, but Craig decided to stick on with the junior team. To stay on with the junior team, I should say. Oh, and Barnett has an incident! Whoa! Those hard tires are not doing Mr. Barnett a favor at the moment. Barnett will now drop down to 9th with Mr. Gilroy passing him on racing mediums. Yeah, mediums should be a little bit better, but they're still falling behind quite a bit now. Barnett should really reconsider his choice and go back into the pits. Oh, and just look, the car just doesn't want to cooperate with Barnett. No offense to Barnett, but those tires are really not the way to go. And we have Revs struggling with the mighty American. My favorite car in the world. If I could own one Viper one day, I could die happy. If I could even ride in one as a passenger, I would die happy. Mac has gotten himself a big gap now down to Jeep. I think Jeep must have done a little mistake somewhere. Let's take a look at the live timing. Jeep is 2.3 seconds behind Mac. Tom Nixon is 5 seconds behind Jeep. Captain O'Reilly 3 and Merck 10. Craig 3, Jamie 1, or almost 2, and 8 seconds down to Gilroy. And yeah, the fastest lap of the race is 1:41.659. Oh, and Tom goes wide. Manages to keep the car at the right way. O'Reilly still has his leg switch engaged. I don't think he's been into the pits yet. No, he has not been into the pits. I think he will dive into the pits right now. Merck will possibly be able to pass him, or he comes out before. There we can hear the car of O'Reilly. Merck has overspeed now. He should be able to catch up. Come on, Thor. Jamie, my fellow commentator, that we commentated the 2-hour, a couple of the 2-hour races together. Very, very good person and very funny person. And he also live streams every race he's in. Just follow Jamie D on YouTube. His link to his channel should be in my description. Mr. Craig in 7th. Craig's on the straight, so he will be taking his vape. Gilroy is possibly closing up a little bit. Barnett is still on racing hards. I still think he should go in and get rid of those tires. This isn't the dailies or the FIAs. You don't need to go on those hards, and the trophy is very good on its tires. Mr. Revs is not having a good race in the Viper. Just listen to the monster roar of this beast. This car is really not suited for this track. It's too heavy, and we have, oh, very good job keeping that on track. Mr. Mac is still out in P1. Jeep now in 2nd, and Tom Nixon still in 3rd. Tom's tires are looking dead. All right. Coming up in the midpoint of lap 16 now. Mac still in 1st. Mr. Tom Nixon has gotten himself up into 2nd in the pit stops. Jeep has dropped down to 3rd. His tires are looking a little bit better, so he must have just come out of the pit stop. Captain O'Reilly is following Jeep. I think Jeep is just a tiny bit better at the moment. Thor closing in on O'Reilly, but his tires are starting to drop off. He's got himself a 2.5-second penalty for his troubles as well. So, as I've said before, welcome to the real penalty simulator. Jamie D in 6th. Livery looking extremely good. Mr. Craig, I think this is his first season in the 650S. Followed the team captain and his choice of GR4. It is a very, very good car. And I feel like I've inspired a lot of other people to pick this car as well. Because after I chose this car, I saw a lot more people pick it, so maybe I started a revolution of some sort. We have Gilroy still in 8th. Glove Barnett is still on the racing hards. I'll say this, the tires will last long and they will probably start to show their prime right now, but he will still lose time. He really needs to get himself a fresh set of softer tires. Maybe the regular compound of soft. Revs is down in 10th. Still struggling with the heavy Viper. I think the GR3 is a little bit tiny better than the GR4. Bit more aero and stuff like that. But these two are American cars, so they will struggle a bit more on complex tracks. Mac has himself a good lead down to Tom. I don't think anyone can take away Mac's glory in this one. I do miss racing against my rival Mac, saying that Merc and Jammy has gone into the pits. They're topping off with a little bit of fuel. At least Thor is. And Jammy's got a clean car. And what's happening here? Has Jammy forgot to press his accelerator or something? Suddenly the car just stopped, and maybe technical difficulties. That is not good. Let's hope Jammy doesn't get more technical difficulties. Maybe Lexus has some new parts that are malfunctioning. That's not good. Craig, still doing good. Car looking clean. I am impressed. Gilroy in 8th. Mediums are starting to drop off. Just look at the rear tires of this car. It's a 4-wheel drive drivetrain on this car, and the front wheel just seems to chew itself apart, just like the Audi Vision GT and GR1, where the hybrid system just tortures and manhandles the front tires like hell demon. And Glove Barnett just slides into 8th. Oh wow, that was a very good move from Barnett. Even on hard tires, his hard tires will probably be in their prime about now, so he'll probably get some more speed out of these tires. Let's see what he can do on the hards. Still, it won't offer the greatest of grip. Gilroy is just sticking in there. He might go in a few laps and get those changed. I do love the Skyline, but it just isn't suited for GR4. If they remove the front-wheel drive system, it might be a better car. And I think even the front-wheel drive cars would do better than the Skyline at this point. We have Revs in 10th, and his tires are starting to drop off a little bit. And look at the penalty. Just doesn't want to drop off on this track. Looks like the race has calmed down a little bit. 32 minutes driven in this 1 hour endurance. Anything can happen still. Oh, and Jeep has a moment again. Tom will get increasingly closer to Jeep if Jeep starts doing that every single lap. His tires aren't even that worn. And I think Tom can smell blood in the water. If I remember correctly, Tom is the junior teammate of Adventure Racing, also known as Jeff James. I could be wrong on that, but yeah. James also won Tier 1. I believe he did. Yep. O'Reilly in 4th. Oh, look at his tires. He really should get those swapped out, I think. And even in a car that doesn't chew on its tires that much, it still is quite bad on the trophy, and he goes out in the grass. This isn't Rallycross, O'Reilly. This is track racing. Oh, yeah, he is really struggling on his right front now. Grip just isn't there to get the car through the corners. Murkoff is coming up fast. Let's see what the fuel load of O'Reilly's car is. He's definitely gonna need to take on some fuel. And Thor, the mighty god of thunder and lightning, is closing in on Captain O'Reilly. Can the mighty Asgardian Oh, and the Asgardian has a moment, but manages to keep the car pointed in the right direction. Maybe showing off for the camera a little bit. And O'Reilly dives into the pits. He's probably going to take on a little bit of fuel. Jeep down into third. Tom has passed Jeep. Jamie D will also pass Mr. O'Reilly. Puts Jamie back up into fifth. And Merck up into fourth. Jamie probably hasn't been down to the pub, so he's racing a little bit better today. Or maybe he still has a beer next to his side. But always remember this, people and children. Never drink and drive. That will mean the boys in blue with a whistle in one hand and a beer can in the other will come and beat you up. So please don't do that. Captain O'Reilly in sixth. Craig is running well in seventh at the moment. Still trying to learn the grips of the McLaren, I would assume. Very easy car to drive and easier than I expected, actually. I have a certain distaste for MR cars, but in this GT4 class, it is a very, very good car and stable car to drive. Very good front end. Mr. Barnett is still out on racing hard. He's been out on these tires for a very, very long time right now. And Gilroy has been into the pits. He's gotten himself a set of Super Soft. Now he will show who has the most superior grip, and the power of the mighty Godzilla will show itself, and he passes Glove Barnett in the freaking chicane. Good job, Mr. Gilroy. But Glove Barnett has not given up. Will he try for a move on the last corner? Oh, it just almost looked like he made it stick, but on board with Mr. Barnett now. Just look at how much Godzilla just pulls away. Oh, Barnett is struggling with his tires now. Godzilla just goes further and further away. And he's gone. Revs has a 7-second penalty to deal with. Not the best start for him in the Viper, that's for sure. Mac has dominated most of this race, and he is looking very secure down to to Tom Nixon. Looks like Tom's got a grip on McLaren. He's running low on fuel. Oh, little slidey action going on. Keep following, and we have Craig into the pits. Low fuel. Royd Jerry helping him through the field. Comes out before Gilroy. As we see, Gilroy's been out on these tires for a couple of laps now, and tires are already starting to drop off, and he has a 7-second penalty as well. Mr. Barnett I'm surprised how long these hearts actually have lasted. Very stingy on fuel as well. All right, coming back with the last remaining 10 minutes of the race. Mr. Nixon finally goes into the pits. Jeep stays out, and maybe he will stay out until the end. Tom Nixon fills up the car. Quarter of a tank. And we have Merck and Jamie together. They will possibly fight to the end. Looks like Jamie's going for a move into turn 1. He's still too far behind, but Merck goes deep. And we have Jamie D up into 4th, Merck down into 5th. I have a feeling this fight is long away from over. They both have a lot of life left in the tires. Good to see that things are working for Jamie. And Merck goes for a move into the chicane, possibly. Still too far behind. O'Reilly is down into 6th place. Craig still in 7th. He's been doing a good job in that McLaren. Gilroy has fallen off. He's taking on a new set of super soft. Jeep has gone into the pits. That's surprising. Didn't take on any fuel. And there we have Tom. I think this might be Jeep's finishing position. Mac still racing alone. No one's been able to touch him for the remainder of this race. Oh, and wow. Yeah, Rev should have gotten out of Jeep's way a little bit more than that. Blue flags, mate. There we have Tom. Merck has gotten himself ahead of Jamie. Like I said, this wasn't over, but there might be more to go for these two. I think we should follow these two now. I think it's where the action is. Craig has gone into the pits. Now we have Gilroy ahead of Craig. Craig is on very fresh tires, and Gilroy's are starting to drop off. Craig could be able to make a move on this guy with a couple of minutes remaining. Let's go back to Mr. Jamie D and Thor. big incidents so far in this race either. That's very good. A couple of small spins, but O'Reilly still trying to catch up to Jamie. And Craig has gotten ahead of Gilroy. Gilroy did a fakie. Looked like he was going into the pits, but remains out. 5 minutes remaining of this round one. Very good and clean race so far in Tier 3. None of the Spice Boys here today, though. Revs has gotten back up into 9th. Barnett has finally been into the pits a few laps ago. Gotten himself a set of super soft. Maybe he's had a spin somewhere. He'll be under attack from Glove Barnett anytime soon, I think, Revs. Mac has led this race for a good while. I don't think anyone will be able to do anything about this powerhouse of a man. There we have Jeep. Unless something bad happens to our P2 man, he will claim this position. And there we have Tom into the chicane right now. So there's a good distance down to these guys. Merck still ahead of Jamie. Looks like Jamie's dropped off a little bit right now. Maybe this fight has stopped. Now we have the fight between Craig and Gilroy. Not a lot of action, as I've said. Everything started to cool down. Oh wow, look at Revs. Like switch engage. Oh. Glove Barnett. Markov and Jamie are starting to run low on fuel, but I think they should be okay to the end. Just a couple of minutes to go now. Good strong race this season from these two. Although it is just the first round, anything can happen throughout the season. Every time I switch to O'Reilly, it looks like his car is ghosting. Oh no! We have Gilroy ahead of Craig. I think Craig might have had an incident somewhere. Maybe a spin. It does happen. It is very easy to get one wheel on the grass, as we've seen earlier with Captain O'Reilly, I believe it was, and he had a hell of a spin. Mr. Barnett has gotten himself ahead of Revs again. Revs' tires are starting to drop off, and we have we've lost Tom Nixon. No way. Yeah, Tom Nixon has been forced to retire his car. That puts Thor up into third. If Jamie hurries now, he could be able to maybe snag that and get his first podium of the year, I believe. We are on our final lap. Let's follow Mac. He comes through our final corner of Kyoto Yamagiba. Very good race from Mac. Jeep has been a constant pain in the ass for Tom. Well, shouldn't say constant pain in the ass, but they have had a good battle for him and Mac. We have Craig coming home into P7. I think, yeah, Barnett has also made a mistake, I believe, somewhere. We have Merck and Jamie. They will come home in third and fourth. Thank you all for watching this round 1 of Tier 3. Come back next time for the next round. This is Kimaru signing off.